that Kenya is still grappling with the increase in cases of cervical cancer, which is posing a serious threat to women's reproductive health, with the main concern being misdiagnosis, which leads to late detection of the disease. Elizabeth Atieno now reports.
Over 16.8 million women in Kenya are at risk of being diagnosed with cervical cancer. More than 5,000 women are diagnosed with the disease annually in the country. The most painful part is that 3,211 women die every year due to cervical cancer in the country. But there are those women who have stood the test of time and have since managed to escape death by a whisker. At the Texas Cancer Center in Nairobi, a group of cervical cancer survivors are dancing to the tunes of what they term as a second chance in life. 60-year-old Mercy Wamboe is one of the survivors and now takes us back the memory lane to the year 2017 when things took a fresh twist.
Nilikuwa tu na celebrate hiyo siku, exam ilitoka ya mtoto wangu. Sasa nikaanza beleni, nilikuwa nimeanza kubleed, lakini nikienda hosi nilikuwa naambiwa ati ni hormones zina change. Tena hiyo siku ndio niende hosi, ilitoka nyingi sana sababu ilikuwa jioni kidogo. Sasa ile nasimama hivi tu ilikuwa inatoka anawea, husikii hata kuumwa. Nikauliza huyo daktari wa lab imesema nini, akakosa kuniambia. Nikaangalia bahasha nikaona haijafungwa, nikatoa hivi, daktari akapiga U-turn. Mimi nikaona Mercy Wamboe cancer stage 2B. Nikamuuliza hii ndio ulikuwa unanificha?
33-year-old Lucy Atieno, now a cancer survivor, was diagnosed in February 2022. It all began as a urinary tract infection. She visited different health facilities for months until April the same year when everything came to light.
The diagnosis was done, the results came out, and the results came out that the cervical cancer was in stage 1. I waited for 2 weeks. Unfortunately, the pathology results came back that the cervical cancer had spread to my lymph nodes, and so I needed to do radiotherapy, chemotherapy, and brachytherapy for total healing.
Both Wamboe and Atieno had a similar experience in terms of misdiagnosis, a situation that decreased their chances of survival.
And when I went to seek for treatment, I was always told that I had cervicitis. Another diagnosis, I can't remember so well, but it was just a series of wrong diagnoses.
Na bleed, naenda hospitali, napewa madawa. Mara ya mwisho nilienda nikadungwa shindano, nikaambiwa sasa tutakudunga shindano ambao itakausha kabisa. Unataka watoto wengine? Nikawaambia hapana, sitaki watoto. Nikadungwa shindano sasa. Hizo 2 weeks kuisha na dawa nikapewa. Hapo mahali inaanzanga bado ikaanza tena.
Cervical cancer is the second most common type of cancer after breast cancer. Women between 35 and 49 years and those living with HIV and AIDS are said to be 5 to 6 times more likely to develop cervical cancer. Dr. Catherine Nyongesa is an oncologist and founder of the Texas Cancer Center. She now paints a clear picture of Kenya's current outlook on cervical cancer.
We do have newer methods of treating cancer. We call them immunotherapy, and immunotherapy is even more costly than just the conventional chemotherapy. I can quote, there's a study which was done some time back, and it showed that on average, a cancer patient, if you look through that journey, up to the time they even reach the oncologist and get treatment, it can cost in hundreds of thousands, close to 400,000.
Some signs and symptoms of cervical cancer include vaginal bleeding during or after intercourse, bleeding between periods or after menopause, watery, bloody vaginal discharge that may be heavy and have a foul smell, and persistent back, leg, or pelvic pain.
Apart from the UTI infections, I also used to have vaginal discharge, and I used also to have painful sexual intercourse that made it so uncomfortable. I couldn't even contain it even for a minute.
HPV vaccination is said to be the best way to prevent cervical cancer. The vaccine, currently available free of charge in all government facilities, is given in 2 doses to girls aged between 10 to 14 years. Another prevention strategy is regular screening for women between 25 and 49 years, which involves testing for human papillomavirus infection to detect pre-cancer and cancer, followed by appropriate treatment. According to statistics from World Health Organization, in 2020, more than 600,000 women were diagnosed with cervical cancer, with over 300,000 people losing their lives in the same period.
Unfortunately, when one has cancer, depending on the stage, the chances of you going much earlier is higher, and that is why we recommend that if you have cancer, you go for treatment.
The Ministry of Health is now working round the clock to reach the 90-70-90 target set by the WHO, which seeks to ensure that 90% of girls are fully vaccinated with the HPV vaccine by the age of 15. 70% of women are screened, and 90% of women with cervical disease receive treatment. Elizabeth Atieno, TV47, Nairobi.
Right, thank you.